What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Go Talk podcast.
Yo.
We got Charlton, myself, Bryce, Linwood. Devin is not with us. He's off doing
a photo shoot.
Yeah, because he's a model now.
Model type things.
Model man Dev.
Today we're gonna talk all basketball. Every series in the playoffs is played 2 games, so we're gonna split the show in half. We're gonna start with the series that are 2-0, that are 2 games to none, and then the other half of the show will be the series that are tied 1-1. So I don't know. Where do y'all want to
let's start with the Heat in Indiana.
The Heat in Indiana. All right. So the Heat are the 5th seed. The Pacers are the 4th seed. So technically, the Heat being up 2-0 is an upset, but the Heat are better than the Pacers. So it's
really, it's not upset.
Heat won Game 1, 113-101, and then they won last night, 109-100. Duncan Robinson made 7 of 8 threes last night.
Well, the team as a whole shot 18 3-pointers last night.
Yeah, and Goran Dragic showed up again last night. He had 20 points. Game 1, he had 14 of the Heat's 24 points. He had 14 of his 24 points in the 4th quarter, so he had a good game both games. Obviously, Jimmy Butler's playing well. The Heat as a whole obviously playing well. Obviously, T.J. Warren's struggling. He couldn't.
He ain't big time.
He's not.
He ain't.
His play in the seeding games is not translating over to the playoffs. Is that surprising to anybody?
No, not at all.
No,
not at all.
But I think if he actually plays at least similar to what he does next season, then he can actually play well in the playoffs.
That's only if they. Well, I think they probably would make it next year anyway.
For everyone that's wondering,
Miles Turner's ass, bro.
What you say?
This is a side note for everyone that's wondering. Linwood is doing his homework right now. His semester started a few days ago. So he's doing homework, which is why his camera is off. So yeah, he's doing homework. But yeah, no, Miles Turner is ass. He does suck. He's not good.
Miles Turner?
Yeah.
He had potential at one point, but not anymore.
He most definitely lost. How do you lose potential to be great?
No.
How do you
facts though?
I think if you're not in the right situation, you can't reach your maximum potential.
That's a fact.
Speaking of potential, they're not in the playoffs. I think it absolutely sucks that the Suns went undefeated in the playoffs, and I mean in the seeding games, and they didn't even get into the play-in tournament. I think that it sucks to be.
I really think that they could have put a new rule for that. Like, obviously
the
Suns.
Yeah, but the play-in tournament.
I think for the Suns though, what makes it so.
They should have won more games in a regular season and wrote it
again.
But they didn't win games during the season when it started, so they're seeding.
Then they shouldn't even be in the tournament at all. If they were going to win, if the odds were that they won every single game and they wouldn't even get to the play-in game, even with a full-on record, and they had to wait for other teams to lose more games than them somehow, even though they had a perfect record, they shouldn't even been in the bubble in the first place. So even giving them that chance with the 8-0 run, that's an L for the NBA's part. That was really stupid. How you if a team gets a perfect record,
right,
in that tournament, then if you do the math, and you're okay, this team even with a perfect record can't even get in the play-in game. They shouldn't even be allowed to play. Because then that just
I think one of the things
they should be in the playoff right now.
One thing you have to remember is when the bubble started. One of the main things about the bubble was they wanted Zion to be in the bubble, and they wanted to make sure that Zion could be the playoffs. Obviously,
we know that
the Pelicans suck, and so they were one of the first teams eliminated from the playoffs.
Funny though.
So that plan blew up in the NBA space. But I mean, I agree with you. I think it sucks that they went 8-0 and
So
couldn't get into the playoffs.
So, okay, just say if they let's just go back a little bit. Let's go back to where they was playing in the bubble. You think they should have made the seeding based off of just based off the games that they played in the bubble? So if they set 8 games in the bubble, and the Suns went 8-0, they should be they should seed it based off the bubble games.
I
They were gonna do that, but then some kids would have been mad that they dropped.
Exactly.
No, I mean,
there's
honestly,
no way to do it without having
I would have.
I think the teams that have already clinched the playoffs,
Right.
you just the seeds that they had when they went into the bubble, you just make that their seeds in the playoffs, and all the other teams like 8 and down that are trying to get into the bubble, you reseed them based on how they do.
Exactly.
So just eliminate the play-in tournament altogether, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because then if it was based off of that,
yeah, Portland wouldn't have had to play the Grizzlies again because they already had a better record than them.
Yeah, it would have been so. Like if you took like the top 7 seeds of each conference, and you just gave them their seeds as is at the start of the bubble, and then the other 8, and then the remaining teams just played basketball and they reseeded
for 8.
Right, for 8. And if somehow like one of those teams ended up passing 7 or 6, then that's different. Like, because originally what I thought when they made this was they were gonna have like 8 games be 8 games. So like if the Lakers were to like if the Lakers had the played the way they played, they wouldn't be that's how I thought it was gonna be, like they wouldn't be the first seed. Like the seedings from the
but bro, Lakers was what? They wasn't there like out of 8 games.
3 and 5.
Out of 8 games, they was about 3-4 in when they clinched the.
Yeah, they clinched in like the third. They clinched in like
the third game.
Whatever game they won their second game, that's when they.
But nah, what you saying is real smart though. They should most definitely. Well, I'm predicting by the time we get into December, I think it'll still be in the bubble. And it'll just be something that we all have to get adjusted to because I just feel like it's going to stay in the bubble regardless.
Yeah, I think next season is going to start in a bubble and then possibly go back to being the normal NBA with like.
I still don't think that's going to happen anytime. That probably won't happen until next year.
I think though the bubble might end up having fans at a limited capacity, like.
Yeah.
If things loosen up, you could have fans at a limited capacity with like still enforcing like social distancing rules and all that good stuff.
Yeah, because last night when it was this one camera angle they had where they showed it, because I never seen what the whole inside of the bubble looked like. We only just see what's on the TV.
Yeah.
But bro, it's like a big old like arena type of situation.
Yeah, it's actual.
So they could come down there. See, but that's another thing. Because what if it's like diehard fans who live out LA, so they want to see their team play, so then they got to worry about quarantining them for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know.
Really so I think it probably end up being that the fans would probably be like family members or something, like having family members in the stand.
I thought they was working on something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say
it's not going to happen. Well, I think the way they're doing it is they're allowing people to come into the bubble, but not necessarily attend the games yet. So you can have a friend that's not on an NBA team that's like outside of the bubble come in. Like it's like LeBron could have Mav come in to the bubble. Mav would have to quarantine, and then they can chill and do and whatnot and like kick it and all that good stuff inside the bubble. But Mav won't be able to come to the games yet. Because if you start having people outside the bubble come to the games, and that would probably change like all the camera work and all the stuff that they've done to make the stuff. But back to the series. The Celtics and the 76ers series has been probably the funniest series of all these for me personally, because the 76ers are like the Cleveland Browns of the no. That's a little insulting. I'd say no, yeah, the 76ers are like the Browns of the NBA, right? Like they have a talented roster that could win games and do things, but there's always something, like they always get in their own way. Like in game 1, Embiid had he hit all his shots. He had an amazing first quarter. And then from the start of the second quarter to the end of the game, he only took 10 more shots for the duration of for the remaining 36 minutes of the game. And you're not going to win basketball games against a team like the Celtics when you already are minus Ben Simmons. You're not going to win a playoff game like that. Other thing too for the 76ers is they suck when they're not playing in Philadelphia. Like their record away from home before the season was suspended, it was 12-26. They were 31-4 at home. They were 12-26 away. And playing in the bubble, even though the games 3 and 4 were
12-26.
Yeah, 12-26. Even though technically,
it's bad.
That's terrible.
That's my bad.
4 are going to be made so that they're home games for the 76ers. I think not being in front of their actual home fans, they're just going to feel like it's an away game for them, and they're not going to play like they're at home. They're not going to.
Hey, now you seen Cuz on a little cam jump. He had a blindfold on after they was getting smoked.
Yeah, they were getting destroyed. Yes, I had a blindfold on too. I think they need to make changes to the 76ers. I don't know if they need to fire Brett Brown. I don't know.
No, they need a whole roster overhaul. Bro, why the hell are you giving Al Horford and Tobias Harris max money?
You're giving – I think the issue with – so I think one of the reasons why Tobias Harris is getting is because, for one, Jimmy Butler's not there, and they like – if they didn't give Tobias Harris max money, let Tobias Harris go somewhere else. Then we would have just been looking at the 76ers of old with just Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and nobody else. And the whole trust the process thing wouldn't work. So I partially think it's 76ers front office fault as the reason why they're in the predicament they're in, because if the relationship between them and if the relationship between them and Jimmy Butler was different, Jimmy Butler would still be in Philadelphia, and they might be in a better position even without Ben Simmons in the playoffs right now.
There's only so this is kind of off topic, but there's only certain teams in the NBA who is knowledgeable enough to give Al Horford or Tobias Harris a max deal. Like,
I think it's that Al Horford doesn't deserve max money. I think it's that Al Horford is too old and not efficient enough for max money. Like,
yeah, right. That's
if the Kings or
right.
the Knicks offered Al Horford max money, that's different because they're still rebuilding. The 76ers are supposed to be championship contenders. Al Horford is not really the guy on max money that's going to help you get over not saying that Al Horford's bad. He does benefit their team in some way, but he's not a max money guy on a championship contending team, and neither is Tobias Harris for that matter. Like I said, you put Tobias Harris on the Knicks or the Kings or a smaller market team that's still trying to rebuild and give him max money, that's completely different because he would be the best player on the team.
Right.
Al Horford's not the best player on the team, and neither is Tobias Harris. So them having max money is just.
Also, speaking of max money, like Chris Middleton doesn't deserve a max contract.
You really don't like Chris Middleton, do you?
But he's not good.
Yeah, I'd be thinking the same thing.
Look at his last 2 games, bro.
Yeah, that's true. He hasn't had a good last 2 games. That's for sure. He's been.
I feel like y'all bully. Chris.
I don't bully Chris. I
bully Chris.
I don't think Chris is a superstar. Like I'm gonna put Chris Middleton on a pyramid from 1 to 5 of like tiers. He's like, I think I said it before. He's like a
3.
He's like a high tier 3.
Yeah, he's a 3. That's 3 is a 3 is a good second or third.
I'd say he's I think.
All right, bro. He can't be no second option, bro. He got to be your third option, bro.
Nigga said he said he number 4. He said number 4 tier.
You said he's your third option?
Bro, no, I said he has to be a third option, bro.
Have you seen his stats though, bro?
Yes, he played like ass, bro.
That's a fact. And it don't even be like that. He be playing like her. Like it don't be seeming like he don't put up 4 points a game. Like he putting up like average numbers. Like what's his
average numbers to you?
Like 20 points a game or so.
That's average to you?
Oh, okay. No, I thought he was. No,
last season he was a 50-40-90 type of player, but
and he still is.
He still is a 50-40-90.
He still is. Yes, he still is.
He still is a 50-40-90.
Yeah, he's actually the most efficient player in the league right now.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The Bucks suck.
Not right now.
Okay, wait, yeah. Not right now. They do. Can we talk about how the Bucks aren't that good?
Bro, nobody ever.
Bucks.
Nobody thought the Bucks were ever good, bro.
No, I never thought they were good anyway.
I don't care. I don't care about their record because records, honestly, they mean nothing. Because there is a such thing as schedule wins and schedule losses, right? Like, if the Bucks, like, you expect the Bucks to beat the Knicks, you expect the Bucks to beat the Kings, you expect the Bucks to beat the Wizards. Like, there are teams in the NBA that you expect the Bucks to beat, and they are a good enough team where they can beat those teams relative to the other team. The Bucks are not good. Every play, all they do is give Giannis the ball, and this lengthy man takes like 3-4 steps and then dunks it. There's a reason why he led the league and he scored the most points of every player in the league directly under the basket because that's all he does. They're not good.
Look, here's the deal. The Lakers are in shambles and they're still better than the Bucks.
Lakers are in shambles.
All right. We're not in shambles.
The Lakers are not in shambles.
I mean, in my opinion, I feel like they can play better.
They
played good last night.
And they played. They had an amazing.
They did.
Here's my issue with the Bucks. My issue with the Bucks is, number one, they're a small market team, and they have an amazing front. Like they have a nice front office, and their front office doesn't always make the best decisions when it comes to free agency and when it comes to drafting. Why would you let Malcolm Brogdon leave? That wasn't a smart decision to make. You do whatever you can to keep a guy like Malcolm Brogdon on your team because of the way that they play. Malcolm Brogdon is one of the reasons why they were so successful last season, because he is a guy that doesn't really need the ball to get his shot. He's like Klay Thompson light. Like, he's not the full, like, you got to pay like $4.99 a month to upgrade Klay Thompson if you're Malcolm Brogdon. But like, he's more than
$4.99 a month.
Like, he doesn't
get a free trial.
But Malcolm is nice though. He's right.
He doesn't need the ball to make his shots. He's a 3-and-D. I mean, he's not that great on defense. He's a 3-and-D kind of guy. He can get the job done. Malcolm Brogdon is one of the
3-and-D kind of guy.
His defense isn't terrible.
No. You're right. It's just how you said it. He's a 3-and-D kind of guy.
He's not one of the more elite 3-and-D players in the league. He's not like an Avery Bradley or like a Klay Thompson. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's the free trial, like I said. So you don't let a guy like Malcolm Brogdon leave your team, and you don't really have any real now shooters or playmakers around Giannis. Who do you have? Like Dante DiVincenzo? Like,
yeah, like the Bucks don't have because the Bucks.
Eric Bledsoe was terrible.
They make it for the left space with the size they have, but it's not going to take them over the edge to a championship win. They need shooters.
Here's the thing about the Bucks. Giannis is a superstar, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately,
Good, bro. Relax.
he doesn't have a lot of superstar qualities, honestly. Like, he doesn't have a lot in his arsenal. So it's unfortunate, right? But he can get. He's a good player. Giannis is on the last deal of his contract. The last year of his deal is next season. He'll be a free agent next year. I honestly think for the Bucks, if the Bucks don't make it to the finals this season, then they're going to have to win the finals next season. Like that. That's honestly what I think. I think if the Bucks don't at least make it to the finals this year, they have to win the chip next year. They're not going to win the chip next year. So Giannis is going to be playing somewhere else when his deal is up. Because if you're the Bucks, you can do one of two things. You can either try to extend him, or you can trade him, or you can be dumb and let him walk into free agency. And at that point, you really don't know what he's going to do, because he could leave or he could stay. And if at the end of the day, you play a sport to win a championship. And if Giannis doesn't feel like he can win a championship in Milwaukee, he's going to leave. He's going to leave.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like no matter how loyal you say you are to a team, if you want to win a championship, you're going to go get that championship. You're going to go leave, because at the end of the day, you don't want your legacy. You don't want to be known as the guy that got so close but couldn't actually get it. Like you don't want to be that guy. And Giannis is on the verge of being that guy. So if they don't make it to the finals this year, he's probably not going to be a Buck after next year.
That's a fact. I feel the same way.
It's just not happening. Like, they lost game 1, and I wasn't surprised. Very rarely, like, does a 8th seed win a game, and you're like, not, and you're like, and you would like expect it to happen. Like, I expect the Magic to win it. I didn't think they would win in game 1, but I wasn't surprised that they won game 1 either. Like, the Bucks aren't good at all.
Marcus, I texted you, right? And I went on a whole rant about how it bothers me that they let this lanky big guy go to the paint and they think that he has skill. James Harden has one of the best. James Harden said it clearly. Like, he's obviously good. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But, like, let's be clear here. Like, does he have the skill level of a Kawhi, of a LeBron?
No. I really hate that people say that he's like the modern day Shaq.
No. What? A modern day Shaq?
Nah, that's crazy.
Rudy Gobert is the best to a modern day Shaq.
Rudy Gobert.
Okay, Rudy Gobert is not dominant, bro.
I didn't say he was. I'm just saying that like his stature.
Listen, I'll say this: Joel Embiid in Philadelphia. I don't mean in Philadelphia like the team. I mean in Philadelphia like during their home games is the closest player we have right now to a modern day Shaq. The only difference is Joel Embiid can shoot and he's a bit more agile than Shaq is. But Giannis, just ill. All right. So the Bucks are 1-1. More likely than not, they're going to advance.
If they lost, that would be
the funniest shit ever.
That would be hilarious if the Bucks got bumped out.
That would be hilarious, actually.
But the Bucks will probably move on. They'll get the Heat in the second round, and then it'll probably be the Celtics and it'll be the Celtics and the Raptors, because I don't see the Nets winning a game in this series. I honestly think the Raptors are going to sweep the Nets, and the Celtics are going to sweep the 76ers. So that's what I got in the East.
Oh my God!
I got it. If y'all defer, y'all can definitely,
Wait. So who said the East?
I have the Bucks against the Heat, the Celtics against the Raptors. The Celtics and the Raptors are going to advance in 4 games.
Okay.
The Heat will advance probably in 5 games. I think the Pacers might be able to steal 1 game. And
I truly believe that Jimmy Butler is going to take the Heat over the Bucks. I truly believe it's going to show.
Yeah, because the Bucks aren't good.
Toughness.
I mean, it's not just going to be Jimmy. It's going to be
no. But
as
a leader, like
DJJ is going to be all of them because they're like.
Yeah, as a bro, Derrick Jones Jr. is not good to me, bro.
He's not.
But he
mad.
blows me.
Bro,
Yeah.
he's
Jimmy
so
Butler has a better
mad.
supporting cast.
Bro, he's a small Giannis,
That's a fact, bro. He has no shooting
but with
ability
better
at all.
with better dunking tendencies and
You know,
Right.
he shouldn't have won the dunk contest, but it's all right. It's all right.
bro, he don't even dunk. He throw the ball in the net.
That's true. No, that's true. That is true, though. That is true, though. That is true.
Nickname it airplane mode and
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do the Western side of things.
Hi everyone. Hey guys, you're just looking at a little smidget of the Lotus Project again. Everyone's scattered over these crazy COVID times. You know, we just wanted to take a minute of your time to explain why we're here and why we sponsor G.O.A.T Talks.
Well, we're here today because we're trying to save the world. We're trying to save the world in every way possible. And as a non-profit organization, we're trying to aid everyone who's trying to influence and change the world to a better place with any form of expression that they want. That's why we're here today.
Yes, and you know, the reason why we're sponsoring G.O.A.T Talks is because we saw, and in the beginning, we thought that this is a way to do it. We saw what Marcus and his team is doing, and we thought that, you know, this is a no-brainer. What he's going to do is going to change lives. You know, he's going to, you know, speak to people differently. You know, and that's why we're here.
Exactly. So
That's
we're
why
very
we're here.
happy to save the world together with you guys, and have a great day.
Adios, guys. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Welcome back, guys, for the second half of the episode. We just finished talking about the Eastern Conference and their first round matchups. We pretty much all agreed that it'd be Milwaukee, Miami, Boston, and Toronto moving on to the second round. Now for the more exciting conference, the Western Conference, the Lakers and the Lakers and the Trailblazers are tied 1-1. The Rockets are up 2-0 on the Thunder. The Nuggets and the Jazz are tied 1-1, and the Clippers and the Mavericks are tied 1-1. I personally want to start with the Clippers and the Mavericks series because I just want to point out that the Mavericks should be up.
playoff P.
Pandemic P.
The Mavericks should be up on this series 2-0.
That's a fact. They play tonight, right?
They do play tonight.
Yeah,
What time?
The ejection.
9.
Kristaps Porzingis ejection was probably the softest ejection in my lifetime. Because stuff like that happens all the time in basketball. Like all the time you see players get into a shoving match. He wasn't deserving of a tech. And being as though it was his second tech, he got sent out of the game.
I know.
They should be up 2-0. And I think the Clippers and Clippers fans should be concerned. If they are not concerned, they should be concerned. And I think the reason why is because Kristaps Porzingis is to the Mavericks what Anthony Davis is to the Lakers. The reason why the Lakers are expected to, even though they are not as deep as the Clippers, the reason why the Lakers are expected to get the better of the Clippers in a 7-game series is because the Clippers do not have an answer for Anthony Davis. So far through 2 games, we have seen the Clippers not have an answer for Kristaps Porzingis. Unfortunately, not only Kristaps Porzingis, but also just the general, the height of the Mavericks. The Mavericks are deep. They have a lot of bigs. All their bigs are tall, and all their bigs are in some form or another stretch bigs. Kristaps Porzingis, Max Kleber. The only big that's not a stretch big that they have is Boban, and he doesn't really need to do anything but just stand there because he's like the tallest person in the league right now. So his presence alone is good enough. The Clippers won Game 1 to 118-110. Again, Kristaps Porzingis ejected the Mavericks up 5, so that was a 13-point switch between that point and the game. The Mavericks won Game 2 127-114. And like I said, they should be up 2-0. Anybody have any thoughts about the Clippers and their
In the Maverick series?
Yeah.
Only thing about that, bro, is that if Pandemic P can get his act together, bro, the series is over. But
I don't think so. But go ahead.
I mean, you might as well explain why you don't think so.
I think the reason I think for one, Paul George has not been out of the first round since 2014. And granted, from 2014 to now, he had like that big injury, so that year kind of doesn't count. But from 2014 to this season, obviously pending this season, he hasn't been out of the first round, and he tends to disappear in big moments.
No, Marcus. No. Don't call it that. Just say what it is. Playoff Paul George activated. That's all it is, bro.
He's not good in the playoffs, Linwood.
Exactly. That's the
joke, bro.
Yeah, well, it's not funny.
Damn, man.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, you're right. He's not. I think here's what I think. I think on First Take a few days ago, it was like a week or so ago. Actually, it was like we were still doing the seeding games. It was after Damian Lillard had missed those 2 clutch free throws against the Clippers, and Paul George and Patrick Beverley were trolling on Instagram. And they were talking about who has more pressure between Damian Lillard and Paul George. And for some reason, Max Kellerman and all of his stupidity said Damian Lillard, and I don't understand how Damian Lillard has more pressure. Paul George has, I personally think of all the players in the playoffs, I think Paul George has the most pressure on him of everyone in the playoffs. And you guys can disagree with me.
Okay, that's no, bro.
No, listen, and the reason,
That's
listen,
What he saying?
He said Paul George got the most pressure
Paul
on
George
him
has the
out of
most
everybody
pressure
in the playoffs.
So
No.
listen. Hey, listen to me. Reason why I think that is because of all the stars in the playoffs. Paul George was handpicked to be the second to Kawhi Leonard in
Timeout, bro.
Let me finish. Bro,
no, hold on. I'm gonna let you finish. But that wasn't Kawhi's first choice. First he said KD, then Jimmy, and Paul George was like last on his list because that's the only one they could actually get.
It's true though. Paul George.
That's not 100% true though, because Kawhi was in when before Kawhi actually decided to go to the Clippers, Kawhi wanted Paul George to come with him to Toronto, and then when Toronto didn't want Paul George because the Thunder wanted Pascal Siakam, they weren't gonna do that. Then that's when he said, "We'll go to the Clippers and bring Paul George with me." So technically, that's not 100% true. But I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, he did want KD and Jimmy Butler, but still, the point is, Kawhi handpicked Paul George. Paul George doesn't show up in the playoffs, and Paul George is more. I think that whether or not Paul George succeeds is ultimately going to dictate whether or not whether or not the Clippers succeed, because Kawhi Leonard can carry a team. That's fine. We saw him carry a team last year. Like we saw him carry Toronto to the finals, ultimately win the championship. The issue with that is Toronto's playing in the East. The East is notably weaker than the West. And then of course when you got to the finals, the Warriors had already lost. They were basically just an infirmary that everybody was dropping left and right. So there's that. In the Western Conference, Kawhi Leonard is not going to be able to carry the Clippers to the title, because in the second round, they're probably going to have to go to the Nuggets. And if Paul George isn't playing good basketball, Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers aren't getting past the Nuggets. And in the conference finals, whether it's the Lakers or the Rockets, Kawhi Leonard's not going to be able to carry the Clippers by himself past either of those teams. He's going to need Paul George. If Paul George isn't playing good basketball, the Clippers aren't going to do well. Even though Kawhi Leonard is the best player on the team, in certain situations, the best player on the team isn't always the most important player on the team. And in this case, for me, I think that the most important player in terms of the Clippers' success is Paul George. Because if Paul George isn't succeeding, then more often than not, the Clippers won't be able to have as much success as they think they'll have, because everybody thinks, well, most people think, a healthy population of people think that the Clippers are title favorites. And that's fine. That's not a bad thing to think. But if Paul George doesn't show up, the Clippers probably won't make it out the first round. And honestly, I think even if Paul George does show up, I think the Mavericks may be a little bit too much for the Clippers to handle.
So what's their help? Tobias Harris?
What?
What's their
Bro,
help?
what are you talking? We're in the Western Conference.
What?
Bro.
I forgot who
What
we're
the hell
talking
you
about.
talking about?
What's the help? What's the help again?
Bro, you are
They have-
tripping.
Kawhi Leonard, Paul
And this is why you stay in school.
No. What's Kawhi and Paul George's help?
Oh,
They have-
Lou, Montrez
This
Williams.
nigga just said
Lemon
was
lemon
right.
pepper
Lemon
Lou.
Pepper
He was
Lou,
ready to say that.
Montrezl
Oh
Harrell,
God, he had that save.
Oh yeah, he was definitely saying that.
5 times.
We
That
was just
shit
talking
saved.
about that. We was just talking about that.
5
Patrick
times.
Beverly, who is
Cat big.
not as good as he thinks he is.
He is that man's so trash.
Hey yo,
They've got, like,
that
they've
man
got
funny as
Zubac.
shit
Because
though.
like look, it's different though because even
Mark
Toronto,
Morris, Reggie Jackson, Landry
Joe
Shamet
Team Noah.
has not played good basketball at all this
Landry Shamet.
The Landry Shamet
The
we saw
Mets.
last season is not the Landry Shamet we saw this season, and that's one of the bigger shocks to me.
because
And they got my good man's Rodney Magruder.
why you say it like that?
He's always saying like that.
So funny to me, Rodney Magruder. That's just always been.
Okay.
Thing's always been funny. To me.
Michael Green.
But like
Yeah,
look,
they got Jermichael Green. Yeah.
Kawhi in Toronto, I feel like has more help than he has now. And what you sacrifice in help, right? You get Paul George, and because you're right, but I think it's different than like him, like just like not being able to carry the team. He still had he had more help than he has now, right? If Paul George doesn't step up, and they don't have, or any of the players step up, and they're not going to because they're not as good as they think they are, right? Then it's wraps. Because you're right. Paul George is, in my opinion, the most important player in that team because Kawhi Leonard is a given, very consistent, but Paul isn't.
I think one of the things, to your point, if you take Paul off the Clippers and you put like Kawhi in the Clippers versus Kawhi in the Raptors from last year, Kawhi in the Clip, like in the 7-game series, whatever, Kawhi and the Clippers could win that series. It'd be a really close series, but it'd be a toss-up, right? Because the dynamics and the game plans and the coaching are much different. You've got Doc Rivers, who
A high caliber coach. Let's just say that.
he's one of the more
more better coaches in it.
yeah, he's one of the he's a top tier coach in the league. He's one of the more legendary coaches in NBA history. He'll be a Hall of Famer when he decides to hang up the whistle or whatever the term is for coaches. And you've got Nick Nurse in the Raptors, who's
Hang up the whistle.
hang up the
He in a rough, bruh.
whatever. I mean, the coaches wear whistles, whatever the case may be. The point is, yeah, they do. Some coaches wear whistles in practice.
Oh, well, yeah, practice. Okay.
Yeah, I don't mean like on the court. I mean like in practice. Whatever. The point is, I think the thing that ultimately pushes the Clippers over the edge and why there's so much hype is that you've got the championship experience of Doc Rivers of being a coach. You've got the championship experience of Kawhi Leonard being that he has 2 rings. That's what makes the Clippers seem so special. But without Paul George, the Clippers are just what they were last season, a playoff team. Like that's all they are. They're a playoff team. Because if you don't have a secondary guy that you can go to, it's the thing that we've talked about off camera about the Blazers and even on camera. The key to the Blazers' success is it needs to not only be Damian Lillard in clutch moments, and so far through the 8 seeding games, or really the last 3 seeding games, their play-in tournament and the first game of their series with the Lakers, which they won, it's been Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, and Carmelo Anthony, or some combination of the 3, getting the job done in clutch moments. Paul George has to show up in clutch moments, and he doesn't do that. And if he's not going to do that in this series or any other series that they may go to, the Clippers aren't going to win the series because Kawhi Leonard may be a robot, but he's not Superman. Like, he's not going to be able to carry the Clippers. He's not LeBron James. Kawhi Leonard's not going to carry the Clippers
Facts.
through the playoffs into a championship. It's just not happening. Especially when, in order to carry the Clippers to the championship, has to get past LeBron James. It's just not happening.
Why
I said that Paul George is under the most pressure, because if Paul George doesn't show up, ultimately his team's going to suffer.
Why do you think Paul George always does this? Because
he's not good.
Because at first it was like Kawhi. Sorry, I mean Kyle Lowry. I always make fun of Kyle Lowry, but then he like kind of stepped up, and he's playing well now. So what do you think?
Here's the thing with Kyle. I think the thing with Kyle, it's not that Kyle wasn't good. I think
you're saying Paul George is not good at all. You're saying Paul George
is not good. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not. No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is he's not good.
You did say that.
Oh wait, pause. Did he not just no? Did he not just say he's not good?
Yeah, I said he's not good.
Yeah.
In the clutch is what I said.
Okay.
What I said. Anyway, Kyle Lowry. It's not that Kyle Lowry wasn't good before Kawhi. I think what happens is for Kyle Lowry this season specifically, when you have the opportunity, even if it's just for one season, when you're able to play along somebody that's won a championship before, you're able to look at the game and you play the game a bit differently. Especially when you're the Raptors and you're an underdog, because you kind of go into every game with a different mindset after you won a championship, when you're playing with someone that has a championship, that versus like when you're just playing basketball. And I think for a long time, Kyle Lowry was just playing basketball. Now that he's a champion, he's playing a little bit different. He's playing with the hopes of getting back to a championship, and that's what has made Kyle Lowry better these past two seasons over seasons prior. Paul George doesn't have championship experience, and for most of his career, up until his years with the Thunder and then now, he's been the best player on his team, on a team that where he didn't really have a lot of help. Like, I mean, that Pacers team that was always going at it with the Heat, that was a solid team, but relative to LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, that's not really, like, Paul George was really going at it by himself. That's 3-on-1. You're not going to do much. Paul George now has somebody that's won championships and knows how to win a championship. But unless he shows up, then none of that's going to matter, because Kawhi can't do it by himself. He can't do it by himself. Now, when I said that Paul George is under the most pressure, Bryce and Charlton clearly objected my statement, and I would like to know why.
About because you said who's under pressure?
I said Paul George is under the most pressure of all the players in the playoffs, is what I said.
Yeah.
And then I explained it rather thoroughly. And I think I did a good job of explaining it.
Yes. Now don't pat yourself on the back.
No, I mean, I'm not saying I convinced you. I'm saying I think I did a good job of explaining why. That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
Who do you think is under the most pressure in the playoffs?
Well, I'm gonna let Bryce go since he.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I would say it's kind of an obvious answer. I don't think it would be a person. I think just the Lakers team in general, just like the whole Lakers team in general. I feel like the Lakers are under so much pressure, bro, because literally anything they do, like, it's under, like, we on surveillance right now from everybody in the league, in the world, in the sports world. We on surveillance.
Yeah. Like,
bro, like, the Clippers can get blown out by the Mavericks tonight, and it just be like, oh yeah, they didn't have Pat Bev, such and such. But then if the Lakers get blown out tomorrow by the Blazers, and we playing full strength, LeBron did this, AD did this, bro, they're gonna be like, well, looks like the Lakers about to be out of here in 5, 6, or whatever. I just feel like the Lakers. I feel like every game is a must-win game for the Lakers.
And don't forget Kobe.
Right, and then that's probably the second biggest thing. That probably is the biggest reason why.
Yeah. And then also it's the Lakers. So like it's the historical aspect. It's the fact that, you know, RIP Kobe and Gigi.
Right.
And then it's
And then it's like their playoff slogan is "Leave a legacy." Like
Exactly.
It is.
You know, Marcus, I hear what you're saying, but I agree.
Slogans for any of the teams this year. Just.
Pardon?
I didn't know any teams were doing playoff slogans this year. I didn't even know what they were.
Oh, I don't think like every team has a slogan.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe they do. I don't know.
I mean, I know there are some teams that like come into the playoffs with like the exact same slogan. Like every year, the Warriors just strength in numbers and like.
Yeah, like that's their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the Wizards were good, it was DC is family, something like that. No, they're not good. They don't have the luxury of picking a playoff slogan.
Yeah, they don't. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bucks Jonas fear the deer.
A little wagon. Fear.
Fear the deer.
Yeah, I think Arjun just sees Unite or some dumb shit like that.
I thought it was see us rise.
The Bucks talking about some 16 wins
might be
to
that.
greatness.
What is it? 16 wins to greatness?
Yeah, 16 to greatness. That's so corny. That's such a. That's crazy.
My nieces could have came up with something like that. 16 wins to greatness. That's goofy.
Very original, Milwaukee.
So the Rockets. Is anyone surprised the Rockets are up 2-0 on the Thunder?
No.
No?
Wait, what happened?
We're up 2-0 on the Thunder, and I just wanted to know if anybody was surprised about that. That's all.
No.
The Thunder have a nigga named LeGuin Dort.
To be honest, I just wish that they just win one game because of Chris Paul. I just like Chris Paul a lot.
I don't even think.
I'm not
think
surprised
Chris
at all.
Paul should be there.
No one does.
But he should have gotten traded, but he was like, you know what? Let me play.
He's too good.
Here's my spiel for the Rockets.
Rockets.
He could go to a contender.
I think that winning 2 games without Russell Westbrook against the Thunder is probably the best thing that could have happened to us. Because for the past 5 years, we have been absolutely slaughtered by the Warriors.
That's a fact.
And it's just James Harden. And so far, and it's only 2 games, and the Thunder, and in no way am I saying that this year's Thunder are on the level of any of the Warriors teams that we've had to deal with in the past. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is one of the biggest knocks on James Harden over the past few years has been that James Harden can't show up. Like, he doesn't show up in the playoffs when it counts, when he's by himself. And so far, he's done just
first round, bro. Like, nobody gives a damn about the first round. For real.
It's not. It doesn't matter. Like, that's not the point. That's not the point I'm making. Like, I get it's just the first round, but the point that I'm making is everyone always says that when James Harden is by himself in the playoffs, the Rockets don't do well. And even though it's just 2 games, it's just James Harden playing, and the Rockets are doing well. And it's not so much that they're doing well, it's that they're doing well and they're efficient while they're doing it. Like, one of the biggest knocks on James Harden is James Harden makes us inefficient, and he's not consistent in the playoffs. Game 1, he had 37 points. And like I said, this Thunder team is not on the level of the teams that we played with the Warriors in the past. I get that. I'm just making just a general statement that so far through 2 games, being able to seeing James Harden play at this level without Russell Westbrook, damn, his name is hard. Russell Westbrook gives me hope, because unfortunately, because of the way that the seeding has worked out, we have to face the Lakers in the next round. Am I saying that we're going to beat the Lakers? No. But what I am saying is if James Harden can keep up this level of play and Russell Westbrook returns and plays the way he plays, I think that
you might not have to play the Lakers. That wasn't even no shot, bro.
I think that our chances of beating the Lakers,
no shot, bro.
I think our chances of beating the Lakers are are better. I think our chances of making the series go into that 7-game territory are better if James Harden continues playing the way he's playing the last 2 games and Russell Westbrook comes back. The thing about Russell Westbrook is, much like Kristaps Porzingis or Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook is not the best player on the Rockets, but he is the most important player on the Rockets, and we saw it last night because Russell Westbrook, even though he didn't step foot on the court because of his quad, he was still very much involved with the team. He was still involved in the huddles.
Sleeveless shirt on.
Yeah, he was still involved. He was still involved in the huddles. He was still, cheering on the team, doing all that stuff. And when you take that from off the floor and put it on the floor, it just makes us better. I don't think we'll beat the Lakers. I don't. I think we'll be out of the Western Conference semifinals. I do.
Oh, man.
But if James Harden continues playing the way he's been playing, and we get Russell Westbrook back, I do think that we'll have a better shot to possibly beat the Lakers. I don't think we will, but I think we might have a better chance.
King.
Yeah. Is that a problem with you, Bryce? Do you not like that statement?
No, I got no problem with it.
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of the Lakers, how's that series making you feel, Bryce?
I love how we played last night. That's how we should be playing. Literally, that's how this series should be going. We should have played like that game 1, but I wasn't surprised that we didn't.
They all the BG and
No, but yeah, I like our chances. I think even with Dame playing tomorrow, I think we'll still pull it off. I think we'll still pull it off and win tomorrow. I think we'll probably go up 2. I think we'll probably, if we can win this one tomorrow, I think we'll take the series.
What do you think? I watched the first game. I couldn't watch the second game.
All right.
What do you think? How do you feel about LeBron playing? How do you feel about LeBron's play?
With LeBron only dropping 10 points and us winning by 25 plus.
That shows you just how important Anthony Davis is to the team.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, because AD, right now, he was hooping last night for sure.
LeBron had a terrible night from the field last night.
Yeah.
He was
It's just like, if that's the only thing I don't like about LeBron, bro. It's like you never, like with LeBron, there's just certain players in the NBA, you just know what type of night you're going to get from them. Just based off the setting and based off with who they going up against.
Yep.
So you would think he'd come out. You think LeBron, because every time LeBron in the playoffs, I actually said this the other day on Twitter. I was seeing when he went back to the Cavaliers and he had that little run with them for however many years that was. 3-4 years.
Yeah,
4.
Yeah. When he was with them, bro, he in the playoffs, bro, LeBron was cooking about every game, bro. Like every possession he had was like a highlight.
Yeah.
And that's like LeBron's thing. Like that's like, playoff LeBron, 0 dark 30. And I mean, he just walk in and just go ham. I just think he's chilling right now. I don't think.
Yeah, I think because like people say he's slowing down. I really think the first game I saw, right, it's obvious that LeBron's just passing the ball. Like he had how many? Then Danny Green missed like 10 shots.
Right.
And Danny Green had like 5 open shots. And like imagine if Danny Green hit those shots. Like I think LeBron from the first game I saw, LeBron is relaxing, passing the ball, and letting AD take control. I don't know why.
The record for most assists in a playoffs game, and I only know this because I've broken the record on 2K.
Yes, sir, big baller.
Thank you. The record for most assists in a playoff game is 25. And in game 1, if the Lakers did not have the terrible, 3-point shooting game that they had, LeBron would have broken the record for most assists in a playoff game because he was finding the open man. They just weren't hitting shots.
The whole time. Exactly. Which is so interesting because, he's not trying to – it's clear he's not trying to score like that, but he's, also, actively sharing the ball, way too well. Really passing the ball very – I forgot he must really just be chilling, like for real. He's like, I guess he's like, I'm preparing y'all to make these shots in the finals.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
LeBron in game 1, 23 points, 16 boards, 17 assists. He's the first player in NBA history to have a game of 20, 15, and 15 in the postseason. So it's not like LeBron's not playing well. I would say of all the games in the bubble, even though the Lakers struggled tremendously for the most part throughout the seeding games, I would say last night was LeBron's only real bad game in the bubble. And it wasn't really that bad of a game because like he only took 11 shots. He made 4 of his 11 shots. He missed all of his threes. But you could see when you're watching that, I think the thing for LeBron is trying to get Anthony Davis in a groove. Because LeBron has probably the greatest basketball mind ever, and he knows that if this collision course is happening with the Clippers, he needs Anthony Davis to be in a rhythm. And he needs Anthony Davis to be in a rhythm now so that when that happens and we start getting into those clutch moments, Anthony Davis is hitting those shots and making those shots that he didn't make game 1 against the Blazers. I think the Lakers will be fine. I think LeBron will be fine. And I think we won't really see all of the playoff LeBron until the next round, if it's the Rockets. But definitely not until the conference finals, whether it's the Nuggets, the Clippers, whoever it is in the conference finals. I think that's when we'll really see all of playoff LeBron. And when you combine playoff LeBron with the best version of AD, whatever that ceiling is for AD in the playoffs that we get, then we'll have our first real taste of what the Lakers in the playoffs are going, how dangerous they're going to be. And that's what I think.
People say he's slowing down. I'm just like, nah. He's not even trying to score. Like he's
slowing down.
No, but he's like no. It's like I'm basing it on the first game. That's all. You know, I'm a little behind. But I mean, I remember like there was a play when he was passing the ball. They all passed the ball. No one had open a shot, and then he was like, "I'm still gonna pass the ball." And then it was like 10 seconds left. Sorry, 5 seconds left. And then he took the ball. It was like, "All right, I'm gonna score." And then drove to the basket, had an N1. Right. Yeah. That's what it seems to me he's doing all the time. He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna attack right now." And like to me, that doesn't say he's slowing down. That says that he's, like Bryce said, chilling.
Well, I think the other thing too, that seems to be like one of the biggest knocks on LeBron, though, is that LeBron in certain situations, and again, this isn't true, and the narrative is so one-sided. A lot of people say that LeBron doesn't have like that killer in him, and that's not true. And I think there are different ways. There are multiple ways you can be a killer. Like obviously, the obvious way is to just say, "Give me the ball, get out the way. I'm going to hit the shot." Like that's a way to be a killer. But I think the way that LeBron does it is probably one of the best way to do it, and is to realize that sometimes when you're the best player on the team, you know that the other team is going to be gunning for you and trying to keep you from hitting that shot or making that play. And sometimes it is in the best interest of your team to, instead of trying to force a shot or just throw up a shot, or try to force yourself into a good situation, sometimes it's just better to pass yourself out of that situation. LeBron is probably one of the he's definitely one of the better passers of our generation, and he's probably one of the best passers of all time. He's got one of the highest basketball IQs the league has ever seen, and his ability to
and a photo you get in memory, kind of insane.
It's amazing. When you there was a series
kind of weird.
Last year when he had a game, he had like 7 turnovers against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they asked him about it, and he was able to like identify every single turnover, how it happened, what he was trying to do, and what ended up happening.
Where everyone was.
Yeah, his memory and how he breaks stuff down, it's amazing. But I think LeBron will be fine. I think the Lakers will be fine. They'll be in the finals. There's no doubt about it. they'll be in the finals, and they'll be good. So that's that. So I'm pretty sure we all have the Lakers in the finals. Who's going to be in the finals for the East?
We back. My bad.
Who's going to the finals?
Okay, yeah, we all don't have the exact same people in the finals though, but
Who do you have?
I'm not getting into that right now.
Who do you have in the finals? I mean, we might as well. We got some more time.
Either Houston or the Clippers.
Wow, that's an interesting choice to make. I'm sorry for that.
Why though? What do you think is going to get the Clippers to the finals?
I mean, bruh, they gonna pour it on, bruh. I'm telling you. But they play like ass now.
Because they don't have any chemistry.
They have no
Yeah,
chemistry.
that's the thing. Like their whole team been injured. They've only played 14 games together in the entire season.
That's also because the Kawhi Leonard thinks it's okay to take games off. That's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, he was injured, so he
Oh my
needed to.
God.
But he was injured last year in the fucking finals. But it wasn't a major injury.
Yeah, well, listen, Kawhi's always injured for something.
To be honest,
But you got Houston or the Clippers. Why Houston in the finals?
Because they've been done dirty previous years.
We have been done
Yeah.
we've been done dirty. Mostly to ourselves. We mostly did that to ourselves. But yeah, we have been done dirty in previous years.
And it's like once we get Westbrook back, they probably have the most dynamic backcourt like in the league right now.
Yeah.
So and there's really nobody else that can really compete with that.
So if you have to
the
pick
powerhouse.
between the two, who are you picking? Because the way the bracket is set up, they could meet in the conference finals. Like if they meet in the conference finals, who do you have winning the series?
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'll probably rock with James, bro.
who?
James Harden.
Yo, yeah. I feel like that was an easy choice to make. I don't know why you took so long.
You have the Rockets and the Celtics. Is that what you're going with? In the finals?
Yeah, probably.
Who you got, Linwood?
I have
Mr.
the
Hank.
Lakers. I have the Lakers and I have the Lakers and the Celtics. I think I want to go with Miami Heat, but I keep thinking about this. Jaylen Brown. I've always as a Wizards fan, I've watched the Celtics very closely. Okay, so I've watched a lot of pieces.
Not good. You need to watch good basketball. Yeah.
What's that?
Who's not good? You got to watch good basketball. Yeah.
No, I pay attention to them. We had a whole anyway, and so I've seen a lot of their pieces go in and out. And I've seen the one that stayed, like Marcus Smart, etc. And I think that first off, as like a unit, right, they're very solid. When it comes to them being a team, right, they're very solid. Jason Tatum is supposedly. Would you say that who's the number one on the team? Jason Tatum. Because of Mark, right? But like arguably, Jaylen Brown might not be far away from Jason Tatum as people think he is.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown's the second option.
Exactly, but he's not. But it's not like he's like second and like he's like Chris Middleton to Giannis. He's like if he. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's not like far off from Jason Tatum.
So you're saying he's like AD to LeBron? Is that?
Yes. There we go. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Then you have Kemba. I really think that as a team, they're really going to take. I like Miami Heat, but like the Celtics really do have something special. But when they get there, man, they're going to get whopped.
So Linwood has Lakers and the Celtics.
They're going to get walloped.
Charlton has Houston and the Celtics. We already know Bryce has the Lakers. Who do you have in the East?
The Celtics.
The Magic. Like no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wait, guys,
Bro,
wait.
no, bro.
Wait.
No. Hell
We
no.
talking about some. I
I keep
mean,
forgetting. The Mavs are in what? The
Mavericks are in the West. The
West.
Magic are in
Right.
the East.
Right.
You cannot be on a sports podcast and not know where the teams are in Linwood.
Y'all, I'm taking econ, accounting, and statistic classes.
What does any of that have to do with
Bro,
basketball?
nobody asked for what you taking. No disrespect.
I've
but-
got a lot on my plate, bro. Relax.
So you have the Lakers and the Celtics, Bryce?
yes, I do.
Or the Celtics?
They're the most. They're the most. No, they're not the most complete team. They really good all around. How about that? They're just better. They're better all around than any other team in the East, in my opinion.
We have the best potential out of all the contenders in the East.
Fact.
Like, I think
Yeah.
Giannis is peak.
Oh yeah, he's definitely peaked. Oh yeah, he's peaked for
And
sure.
then
Oh, yeah,
Jimmy
definitely.
peak.
Unless he gets a shot, he's peaked for sure, and he won't get a shot, so he's peaked. He has reached the top of the mountain. He's on the way down.
His maximum potential.
Yeah, he's reached his.
I mean, look. Potentially, the Bucks could go all the way.
No, they can't.
No. But hear me out. Let me
Yeah, they
explain.
could go all the way, but the way that, like, no, if it was regular season Bucks and the playoffs were like their normal course, yeah, I could see that. But
Right.
the way that
Yeah.
they
But
play like ass,
But I
like
would say
overall,
even
like,
if this isn't-
I don't think that, like, for the playoffs, Giannis has it. Giannis doesn't have it. Like you say, he doesn't have a whole skill set. He's not as great as you think he is. He really isn't. He just doesn't have it. And Chris Middleton, if
like,
he's
he could
good
give
enough,
you 30 and 15.
Exactly.
The
But
beauty-
if anybody,
Go ahead.
if nobody else is making shots, bro, it's a wash.
The thing that has made Giannis seem so special, and one of the reasons why he won MVP last year, one of the reasons why he'll probably win it again this year, is because the numbers that Giannis was putting up, he's putting up in 30 minutes. Your best player cannot play 30 minutes in a playoff game, and you expect to win. Giannis is going to have to start playing 35 to 40 minutes a game, and in some cases, he might have to play an entire game, depending on who he's playing, depending on the series. And I would say that 9 times out of 10, in order for Giannis to be in the Bucks to be most successful, in the second round against the Heat, he'll probably have to play close to 40, maybe even 45 minutes, if not just the entire game, every single game they play. Whether it's a 4-game series, a 5-game, 6 or 7, however many games it is, he might have to play every single game all the way through. I don't think Giannis has the cardio. I don't think Giannis has the stamina. And he definitely does not have he definitely doesn't have the skill.
You don't think he has the stamina?
I don't.
Why
And the
not?
reason why I don't think he has the stamina is because Giannis doesn't do physicality. And that may sound weird because, like, all of his highlights are him dunking on people. Yeah, that's all he does. But when I'm talking about physicality, I mean, like, last season against the Raptors were very physical against Giannis. They were walling up against him, bodying him down in the paint. Giannis doesn't have the body to withstand a beating in the paint. Like, I don't mean like a beating like a Jordan rule beating, like what the Pistons were doing for Jordan. I mean just like a beating, like constant contact against men his size, right? Like, he doesn't have a build for that. He's long, he's got muscle, but he's long and he's skinny. So he doesn't have any weight to really throw around. Like, he's not LeBron, right? Like, LeBron has muscle to him. He's got a little bit of he's got weight on him. You can throw your weight on LeBron. LeBron can also throw your weight on you, and he can get you out the way. Giannis can't do that because he's a stick. Like he doesn't have any weight to move around in the paint. He's not going to be successful just playing 30 minutes a game. Now, granted, he's been playing like 35. I think he played 36 minutes in game 1. I think he played like 30 last night. I don't know, but it's also it's also like the Magic. So He doesn't really need to play like more than 30. Like he played 35 minutes in game 1. He played 30 minutes last night. It's fine because it's the Magic. When you get to like the Heat and the Celtics, which is probably how it's going to go if he gets past the Heat, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. The Bucks. My Eastern Conference Finals matchup is the Heat and the Celtics. That's who I have in the Eastern Conference Finals. I have the Heat and the Celtics in the Conference Finals. I think the Heat are going to get rid of the Bucks. I think the Celtics. I think it's either going to be the Celtics. It'll be the Celtics and the Lakers in the finals, which would just be like such a storybook way for LeBron to win his first championship in LA to beat the Lakers. I mean, to beat the Celtics. That'd be nice. I don't have the Clippers in the conference finals either, though. I have it being the Nuggets or the Mavericks against the Lakers. I don't think the Clippers are going to make it out of the second round either. They make it out of the first round. I don't think they'll make it out of the second round. That's just me.
It's funny just thinking about the Clippers not making it past the second round.
I just don't see it happening. I just don't. I don't, because if they make it past the Mavericks, they've got the Nuggets, and the Nuggets are a more complete team to me than the Clippers are. They've got, in my opinion, the best center in the league. They've got Nikola Jokic. They've got Jamal Murray back, who has played a solid 2 games in the playoffs so far.
Nigga struggling against the Jazz, bro.
He did struggle last night. That's true, but he had a strong game in game 1. Hopefully he gets back to that. The one surprise about the Nuggets to me, though, the one thing that's kind of got me a little bit concerned for the Nuggets is Bol. Bol had like those really those good. He had a good few games in the seeding games, but he's kind of like disappeared. And I don't know where he went.
MPJ been cooking though.
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. has been cooking. I don't know where Bol went, but wherever he went, he needs to come back. Because if Bol can get back to how he was like in those first 2 seeding games, with Michael Porter Jr. staying how he's playing, with Nikola Jokic playing how he always plays, and with Jamal Murray back, I think that would be overwhelming for the Clippers. And I think the Nuggets could possibly get past the Clippers and make it to the conference finals. They won't get past the Lakers, but they'll definitely get past the Clippers. And I think the Lakers and the Nuggets would be an interesting conference finals matchup. I do.
Everything goes bad, it's not the end of the world.
I'm sorry, what was that, sir?
Are
you all right? Like, I think you've just been all the way in left field this entire episode. Are you okay, sir?
I'm trying to finish this assignment, and I just been really tired, to be honest.
All right. Well, if no one else has anything else they want to say, you have any more jokes, Charlton? No jokes?
No.
No, you don't have any jokes. Bryce, you got anything to say, bro?
No, I think we're good.
We're good. All right. Well,
I do have another joke, but I'm not gonna say it.
I've got one thing to say.
What do you have to say, Mr. Smith?
One thing to say. Everybody who says Portland is 6, or who says Giannis is better than LeBron, or that I'm tired of
bro,
it.
Who the hell is saying that,
bro? Bro. If you ever go on ESPN Sports Center, for real, that's real. Y'all stupid. Watch basketball. Go to freaking basketball camp or something. Watch film.
On that note,
nigga, you're telling me to watch, bro.
Not you. I'm talking to the audience. I'm talking to the audience.
On that note, this is the end of this episode.
Bro, who in their right mind thinks Giannis is better than LeBron?
If you have not already, subscribe, like the video, turn on notifications. Thank you to the 7 subscribers we have right now. We love all 7 of you.
You shouldn't have said that. You should not have said that.
Hey, stupid.
I don't care. It's fine. No, I'm serious. No, I'm smiling, but I'm dead serious. I'm very thankful for the 7 people.
I know.
No, I'm very thankful.
But you shouldn't have said that.
That's fine. I don't care. I'm fine. I'm very thankful for them.
No, y'all can subscribe so we get better equipment. That's it. Thank you.
We will see you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us today.